Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237, coming at you with another Italian Giallo film. And my last one was by Lucio Fulci, so figured I would now do finally a Giallo from the master of Giallo films, Dario Argento, with his directorial debut, The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. This is probably, as of right now, my favorite Giallo film. This is a great movie. This came out in 1970, and I mean, before, I think Argento had just done like producing and editing and a series of many different things. But now, writing, he wrote and directed The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, and this was a huge hit. I mean, it made 1.65 billion Italian lira, which is equivalent to $1 million US, but still, for 1970. I mean, this was the movie that made critics and audiences call Argento the Italian Hitchcock, because he does so well Hitchcockian suspense and thrills and mystery. There have been some giallos before this, especially by like Mario Bava, among many others. But this is the one that really helped. This is probably like the Halloween giallo films, I guess. I mean, the story is, there's this guy. Well, it stars Tony Musante as Sam, who would go on to be in Traffic and Oz. I think he did a great job as just an everyman who's thrown into this situation. His girlfriend is Susie Kendall, who was in Circus of Fear, and later Sergio Martino's Torso, which will be one of my next few reviews. And basically, it's about this American writer, Sam. He's living in Rome, and his book was just released, and he's about to go back to the States with his girlfriend, Julia. Damn allergies. And he's walking home one night, and he walks past this big, beautiful, studio for... It's like an art studio where they display sculptures. And this woman's being attacked by a trench-coated, fedora-wearing, black-gloved killer. So he feels the need to help, and it's like 3 sliding glass doors. Once you get beyond that, there's another set, and he gets stuck in the middle. So this woman is stabbed, and he's able to get help before she dies. She does live. And he goes from being a material witness to pretty much just being volunteer. He becomes obsessed with the case. And he just goes through all kinds of detective kind of things, I guess, to solve this murder. And it's kind of weird because he's a writer. And even like the head inspector asks him if he needs any help solving the case, pretty much. Here, you need any help doing my job? I don't know how things were in Italy, or are in Italy, but it's not like here. They pretty much tell writers to fuck off. But he meets, he has newspapers, scraps of each victim. There was 3 murders before the attack that we saw. He finds out one was a student, one was a prostitute, one was a girl that worked at an antique store. He goes to the antique store and he finds out that the last thing she sold before she was killed was this painting. This wintry landscape with this girl being attacked by a knifed killer. And it's pretty much just him meeting different people and getting closer and closer until at the end you find out who it is. And you get great art, like precursors to what would become Argento signatures, like when he's at the window seeing the woman being attacked. It's dark outside, but there's very bright, vibrant white lights on the floors or the walls and the ceiling of that little room he's in. When he's in the antique store, the walls are very blue, and there's the furniture is very vibrant, different colors. So very vibrant colors, sort of like what you would see in Suspiria, not as intense, but. And that's basically it. I mean, he meets with several different people. There's scenes where, someone's after him. Like the killer sends people after him to kill him. And when that doesn't work, their bodies end up being killed. And it's kind of weird. Like, this movie is rated PG. This is the unrated version. But, like, even like this scene, like, the woman gets her shirt cut open, her underwear ripped off. And then when she finally gets stabbed, you don't see stabbing or anything. It's more so, like, blood spray or blood droplets, which is still effective. But yeah, this is probably a very short review, but the ending is definitely worth it. I mean, it's only 96 minutes. It's not very long, but it's a very interesting journey to go on with this guy. He'll look at something a different way, and he'll just be like, wait a minute, and then he'll get an idea. Like, he wants to see who made the painting. Well, first, when he's at the antique store, and he has to speak in, because they have like black and white copies. He asked if he could borrow the copy of the painting that the victim sold. And then he hangs it up on his wall, and it zooms in, but then it turns to color, and it zooms out, and it shows the killer standing by it. Great shots like that. So, and I'm going to say spoilers here. So if you haven't seen this, go check it out, because I don't want to ruin this for someone. Well, before I say spoilers, I mean, in my Don't Torture a Duckling review, I talked about like red herrings and how big they are in Giallos. This movie does it way better, because, they make it very obvious that this person's the killer. And then it goes off somewhere else and shows someone else's. And it's not like a bullshit, oh, that's cheap. It actually makes sense, and it's done very well. So if you haven't seen this, I don't want to ruin it. Go check it out. Damn nose would stop running. Fucking allergies. I don't want to ruin this for anyone, so go check out Bird with Crystal Plumage. One of Argento's finest films, one of the best Giallos there is. You'll love it. So, spoilers from here on out. Like, first, we're supposed to believe that, well, actually, reason why it's called this, and this was sort of when I learned that Giallos with long titles like this, it's usually just a tiny detail that sort of gives away the killer. And Sam keeps getting these phone calls, these threatening phone calls, and so does the inspector. They realize there's a chirping sound, and no one can figure out what it is. They've isolated it, and they cannot figure it out. So then Sam's, I guess it's his agent, comes by, hears the tape, and he's like, there's something about that tape. He's like, let me borrow this. And then he realizes there's this bird that has, a sort of crystally plumage that can only live in Siberia, but the zoo has one. And right next to the zoo, there's apartment buildings. And when they go there, they see the woman that was being attacked in the beginning being attacked again by her husband. And much earlier in the film, they sort of made the husband out to sort of be this sketchy character. And, you know, the husband falls out the window, but he confesses. And then Sam realizes Julia's gone missing. So he's trying to figure out where she went, gets to an apartment, power's cut, and also he's asking someone, have you seen a blonde woman? And then the camera pans up. There's like this sort of Psycho kind of like the opening to Psycho, like that long zoom. This goes up, then pans over to a window in this building far away, and we see a killer putting on gloves. So now we know, because earlier, when they were listening to the audio, the call that Sam got and that the inspector got, they realized there's two different voices. So either there's two killers, or the killer's having people call for him. So we're like, was the husband really the killer? Was he one of the killers? So Sam gets there, and Julia's tied up, and great, like, Hitchcockian sort of, because she's tied up and gagged sort of behind something on the floor, but we see Sam, like, his ground perspective, him walking by her, because he can't see or hear her. So it's like, we know she's in distress, but he doesn't. And then he sees his agent, who's sitting there with a knife, and he's got this big grin. So we're thinking, oh shit, that's how we knew it was the bird. Then he falls, and we find a knife in his back. And then it's revealed who the killer is. It was the girl the whole time. The girl in the beginning, the one that was attacked. And, you know, a lot of people might, like, nowadays, if that was done, that would be like, that's a cheap bullshit cop-out. That's a cheat. But it's done very well in this. So there's like a big fight or a chase. The inspectors get there just in time to get her before she can kill Sam. And then, you know, just like the ending of Psycho, we get a psychiatrist explaining why. Apparently she was attacked at a young age, but it, like, traumatized her, and then seeing the painting triggered it. And she identified with the killer more than the victim in the painting. And the husband actually helped her out. Like, either helped, maybe committed some murders, or helped cover it up, took the blame so she wouldn't get in trouble because he loved her so much. And then we see Sam and Julia finally getting on a plane because they've been trying to leave, catch a flight back to the States the whole movie. Now they're finally doing it. And literally when the plane takes off, that's when the credits start. But, so, I mean, it's a great mystery. You really get involved with this guy, just an innocent everyman. Just doing it because he wants to, and he becomes obsessed with it. And, you know, every twist and turn it takes, it's just like, well, that's more interesting. That's interesting. And then all the different red herrings, which is all pretty much right at the end. You know, like, it's literally the last, like, 15 minutes is when all the major twists and turns happen. But it's definitely worth it. And I know a lot of people probably say Deep Red is much better. That's, like, his best film. I haven't seen that in like 6 or 7 years. I know I've been saying that a lot, but that's when I bought most of these Giallos. So I gotta watch them all again. Deep Red will be coming soon. But, you know, I like ones like this a lot. You know, it was much easier to follow than like Don't Torture a Duckling. A bit more contemporary. And, you know, I actually kind of like that it was sort of like this everyman doing it because he wanted to, or because he felt compelled to. Well, he was sort of told to stay in the country by the police, but then they offered him his way out, and he chose to stay and work on the case. But I really like the twists, and it definitely felt like a Hitchcock film. Not like a ripoff, but like someone inspired by Hitchcock, but doing their own thing. And I can't recommend this movie enough. This is a must-see for Giallo, Italian films, Italian horror, Argento for sure. This this is up there with Suspiria and Phenomena for me. It really is. I mean, I had to revisit Tenebrae and Deep Red and Inferno, but even from what I remember from those movies, this is still up there with Suspiria and Phenomena. Just one of the best, most interesting mysteries. I love the twist at the end. The last 10 minutes was great. The whole exposition at the end wasn't bullshit. So, yeah, definitely. Like, if I had to recommend one Giallo to anybody, it would be this one. I was like, if you ever want to know what a Giallo is, watch this. Because it helped set the template. Even though there were ones before. I mean, there were slashers kind of before Halloween. But Halloween really helped establish what future films would be. And I think that's what this was like for Giallo films. So, Bird with the Crystal Plumage. It's awesome. It's also just a great thriller, suspense, murder mystery, and just a great movie. So I definitely recommend it. So yeah, for Room 237, that is The Bird with the Crystal Plumage by Dario Argento. Thank you.